Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Net Physics by Tanya. In today's lecture of nuclear physics, we will study nuclear magnetic moment. So, what is nuclear magnetic moment? Magnetic moment or magnetic dipole moment is a physical quantity that gives an idea about the magnetic strength and orientation of a bar magnet or any other physical object that might replicate the behavior of a bar magnet. So you people might be thinking that what's the meaning of replicating here? So by replicating the behavior means there are physical objects which can behave from far away as if they have their magnetic field of their own or as if magnetic field consists of a north pole and a south pole. And also there are particles in nature such as electrons and protons and neutrons which also behave as tiny bar magnets of its own. Now, in today's lecture, I want to discuss the nuclear magnetic moment or the magnetic moment of nuclear particles such as neutrons and protons. So, before we go into that, let's first start with very basic example. Okay. So, we have the example of circular current loop. You can see here that it's a circular current loop and the current is going in this direction here. So you probably already know that if you have a wire in which a current is moving, then there is a magnetic field lines around that particular wire because of the current itself. Okay. Now if you have a circular current loop in which current I is flowing through it, then there are going to be some magnetic field lines around that particular circular current loop, and you can see in this diagram. And because of these magnetic field lines from far away, this kind of physical object will behave like a tiny bar magnet of its own. So you can see in this diagram that it is behaving like a tiny bar magnet which has a north pole as well as a south pole, and magnetic field lines are moving like this way. Now the magnetic moment, which will basically give us the idea about the strength of its magnetic field and orientation of the magnetic field, and that is given by the current of the wire multiplied by the area of the loop. So I is the current and A is the area of the loop. So it's the formula for magnetic dipole moment. Now this kind of example, that current moving in circular loop, can also be compared with other physical quantities. For example, motion of electron around the nucleus. For example, if nucleus is at the center and electron is moving around the nucleus in this manner, then the current associated with the motion of electron will be given by I equals to minus E upon T, where this E represents the charge and T represents the time. And why I have written here this minus E instead of plus E? Because electrons are negatively charged particles. So that's why their negative sign is there. And this T is here the time period of revolution and is given by 2 pi r upon V. So you can remember this, and then putting the value of T here in this equation, we get that I equals to minus EV upon 2 pi r. So as you already know from the previous slide that magnetic dipole moment equals to I into A, where A is the area of the orbit. So A is the area of the orbit, so it will be pi r square. So putting the value of A and I from here in this formula, we ultimately got that minus EVR upon 2. And I already told you the significance of this negative sign here. So, as you know from the previous slide that magnetic dipole moment equals to minus EVR upon 2. So you might be thinking that why I have this multiplied here by m and divided by m factor. I have multiplied by m and divided by m in that equation just because I want to make this L equals to mvr here in the above equation. So mvr is the angular momentum associated with motion of electron around the nucleus, and since electrons are revolving around the nucleus, so orbital angular momentum is associated with its motion. So where L equals to mvr, that is the orbital angular momentum of electron. So putting the value here above, that minus EL upon 2m. So here, as E is the charge, m is the mass of electron and 2 is the just a number. So all are constant quantities. So the remaining variables are only mu and L. So the conclusion is that mu is directly proportional to L here. So the conclusion is that larger the magnetic moment, so larger will be the angular momentum. So that's the conclusion. So what happens when there is a particle which has its charge and angular momentum associated with its motion? Then in that case, the particle will have a magnetic moment also associated with it. So magnetic moment of any particle is the result of two things. So that is the intrinsic charge plus angular momentum results into a magnetic moment. So always remember that magnetic moment is a result of intrinsic charge and angular momentum. However, orbital angular momentum is not only the angular momentum associated with an electron. There is another angular momentum associated with it, that is spin angular momentum. And spin angular momentum has intrinsic property of the electron itself. Whether the electron is in bound state or in the free state, it will always have a spin angular momentum associated with the. So this angular momentum will also contribute towards the magnetic moment of the electron. So the spin angular momentum will also create a magnetic moment whose expression is also similar to this. So here the spin angular magnetic moment and the orbital magnetic moment are given by these expressions. You can see here mu equals to minus gs Es upon 2ms, where this gs is the g factor or correction factor for spin angular momentum, and its value is approximately 2 here. This s represents the spin angular momentum. Okay. Whereas in the case of orbital magnetic moment, the value will be given by mu equals to minus gl El upon 2ml, and gl is the g factor or correction factor whose value is gl equals to 1 approximately for orbital angular momentum, and that's capital L is the angular momentum for orbital angular. So what's the conclusion here that we all have studied in the previous slides? That this electron revolving around the nucleus has a magnetic moment of its own, and electron has a magnetic moment of its own. So total magnetic moment of electron will be the vector sum of its motion around the nucleus and as well as its own intrinsic spin angular momentum. So thus we can conclude that electron in the nucleus as well as the electron in its own will behave as a tiny bar magnet which has a magnetic field of its own and behave as a bar magnet. Now you can see some of the expression for quantization of orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum. So you can remember these expressions now, but I will later on make some another video that how these expression comes for the quantization of orbital as well as for spin angular momentum. So let's talk about that. Here this capital L equals to under root of L into L plus 1 H cross, where this small l is the azimuthal quantum number and it's given by 0, 1 up to n minus 1 values. On the other side, this spin angular momentum is given by under root of s into s plus 1 h cross, where this small s is the spin quantum number and can take value 1 by 2. Now this side Lz equals to ml h cross. So this Lz is the component of orbital angular momentum in the direction of magnetic field. And similarly on the other side this Sz equals to ms h cross. And Sz is also the component of spin angular momentum in the direction of external magnetic field, and this ms can take value plus minus 1 by 2. So using the previous expressions to get different expressions for magnetic moment, what I have done here, I have just multiplied and divided by h cross. And why I have multiplied and divided by h cross in the previous expression? Just to get the Bohr magneton here. So to make it in that manner, I have just multiplied and divided by h cross, and this capital L already contains h cross in itself. Okay. So here in the case of this manner, GL will take value 1 as I already told you. So the reason why I have written in this manner, I just told you that E h cross upon 2m is nothing but Bohr's magneton, which is a constant quantity. So the expression will become like this: mu equals to minus GL mu B capital L upon h cross, where this mu B is the Bohr's magneton, which is a constant quantity and has value 5.78 into 10 raised to power minus 5 electron volt per Tesla. On the other side, for spin, mu equals to minus gs E h cross upon 2m s upon h cross. Here also I have followed the similar step, that multiplied and divide by h cross to make it a Bohr magneton, and here for spin g factor will have value 2 approximately, so the expression will become minus gs mu b s upon h cross. Like in this way, we can also represent the magnetic moment for particles like neutrons and protons. Now, here let's talk about the mass of proton and the mass of electron, and why it is greater, that mass of proton is greater than mass of electron, why it is. So here, Bohr magneton for electron is given by this formula: mu b equals to E h cross upon 2me, where this me is nothing but the mass of electron, and it has a value 5.788 into 10 raised to power minus 5 electron volt per Tesla. On the other side, nuclear magneton is given by the formula mu n equals to E h cross upon 2mp, where mp is nothing but the mass of proton itself, and the value of nuclear magneton is 3.15 into 10 raised to power minus 8 electron volt per Tesla. So you can compare both of these values and you will find that the nuclear magneton has lower value than the Bohr magneton. So the mass of proton will be greater than the mass of electron. So as I have already discussed, that the magnetic moment is a result of two things, that is intrinsic charge of the particles and angular momentum. So whenever a charged particle has an angular momentum, then that particle will have a magnetic moment associated with it. Now obviously in case of proton, they are positively charged particles. So here the question arises in our mind that neutrons are neutral particles. Okay, so why neutrons have magnetic moment although they are neutral particles and do not have any charge? So that's the question. So the reason is that even though neutrons have net zero charge, okay, But neutrons are made up of much more fundamental particles which have their fractional charges of their own. So remember this thing always. Okay. So neutrons have some spin angular momentum associated with it, and the neutron is further made up of smaller particles which have a charge of their own, and there is a charge distribution inside the volume of the nucleus that effectively leads to the nucleus having magnetic moment. So that's the reason behind that neutrons have magnetic moment. So there is a charge distribution inside the nucleus. So in case of neutron, magnetic moment is opposite to the direction of spin, as the direction of spin is like in this manner. So the magnetic moment is opposite to the direction of spin, whereas in the case of proton, magnetic moment is in the same direction to the direction of angular momentum. So if we want to calculate what's the magnetic moment of neutron and proton, so we are going to use the similar expressions that we have already used earlier in case of electron. Okay. So however, in the case of electron, we had an angular momentum s, which was given by that kind of quantization rule. Here s equals to under root of s into s plus 1 h cross, and sz equals to ms h cross. So in the case of neutrons and protons also, we will have a similar kind of expression, because neutrons, protons and electrons, they all are spin half particles, and their spin angular momentum is given by s equals to under root of s into s plus 1 h cross, and the component towards z axis is given by sz equals to ms h cross, where this ms can take values plus minus half. So if we want to represent or quantify the total amount of magnetic moment for neutron and proton, I will use simply these expression as I used for electron. Okay. So in case of neutron, you can see here that mu n equals to g mu n s upon h cross, whereas in case of proton, mu p equals to g mu n s upon h cross. So you people might be thinking about sz because this term is repeating again and again. So what is sz? Sz is basically like if there is a particle, suppose, which have a spin rotational motion with its existence, and this particle is then put in some kind of external magnetic field. So if magnetic field is in the z direction, like in this way, then they have a magnetic moment. Okay. So what's the meaning of now magnetic moment here? It means that it is behaving like a bar magnet. Bar magnet means which has a north pole and a south pole. Now the next question arises in our mind that what happens to a bar magnet when it is placed in an external magnetic field? So it will try to align itself in the direction of external magnetic field. However, the direction in which angular momentum of these particles like electron, proton or neutron exist are quantized in nature. So that means electrons, neutrons and protons are not free to orient themselves in any arbitrary direction in space, but rather their direction in which their spin angular momentum is facing towards is quantized and restricted by the system they are present in. And in fact, they are restricted by these quantization rules, as you know, that s equals to under root of s into s plus 1 h cross and sz equals to ms h cross. So if there is a neutron or proton which has some kind of angular momentum in space and it's placed in external magnetic field, now neutron is going to precess around the z axis or external magnetic field. So that's the z axis, and it will precess in or revolve, we can say, in this manner in conical section, like this way and that way. So for spin up, it will have plus h cross by 2 value, and for spin down, it will have minus h cross by 2 values. So Sz equals to ms h cross, and you already know from the previous slides that ms equals to plus minus 1 by 2 value. So Sz will become plus minus h cross by 2. So therefore it can precise either in plus h cross conical section, or it can precise in a minus h cross conical section, as I already told you in previous slide, like above or below. That's the plus h cross, that's the minus h cross conical section. So it has two values, plus h cross by 2 and minus h cross by 2. So if we put these values in both the cases of proton as well as neutron, so if we use these values in case of proton and neutron, so what we will get? So in case of proton, mu p is given by g mu n s over h cross. So mu p equals to g mu n. Putting the value of s here means sz equals to, as you already know, ms h cross. So putting the value here, that the factor becomes g mu n ms h cross upon h cross. So h cross cancels here. So it will become mu pz plus minus g mu n upon 2. And ultimately putting the value of g factor here, that's 5.5858, we ultimately got that plus minus 2.793 mu n. So you people might be thinking about this plus minus sign. So this plus minus sign is due to that magnetic moment and spin angular momentum is in the same direction. Okay, and this mu pz here is nothing but the magnetic moment of proton in direction of external magnetic field. Okay, on the other side, for neutron, the value is given by mu n equals to g mu n s over h cross. So similarly here also mu nz equals to minus plus. So you can correct here in this line that it's minus plus. Okay, and its minus plus here is due to that magnetic moment and spin angular momentum is in opposite direction. So ultimately, after putting the value of g factor here, we got minus plus 1.913 mu n. So you can correct here that in this line the value is minus plus 1.913 mu n. Okay. Now, as I already told you that if neutrons, protons or electrons, which are basically a tiny bar magnet, and they are put in presence of some external magnetic field, they cannot orient themselves in any arbitrary direction in space. Okay, so according to quantization rule, but rather their direction are quantized by Sz quantized rule. So according to this quantization rule, it can either precess in this particular conical section or either in this particular conical section. Okay, so the energy corresponding to these two different directions are not equal, and therefore leads to splitting up of energy of either proton, neutron or electron in presence of external magnetic field. Now if there is a proton and that proton has energy E naught, okay, and that proton is placed in some external magnetic field, then that proton, because this proton has magnetic moment of its own and can orient itself in two different directions. So it will give the values like this way after splitting, that for spin down it will have the ms value will have minus half, and for spin up ms value will have plus half, and the two energies are E naught and E naught, one for the above level, one for the below level, and ultimately the factor is plus mu p zb for spin down and minus mu p zb for spin up. Now, the magnetic energy of any bar magnet is given by mu m equals to minus mu dot b. So, to remove that dot product, it will become minus mu b of cos theta, where this mu cos theta is nothing but component of magnetic field in the z direction of magnetic field. Okay, so it will become minus mu b cos theta, and after that it will become minus mu z b, because it's for z component. Z component of proton will have two values, one is positive and the other is negative. So we can write this expression in this manner. So one for positive and the other for negative. So you can see here that for positive case, that minus plus will become minus, so it will give minus mu p z b value. And in case of negative, this negative and negative sign will become positive, so it will give plus mu p z b value. So ultimately it's giving two values, one is positive and the other is negative. So in case of spin down, you basically end up getting higher energy, and in case of spin up, you are getting lower energy. That's why you can see in the previous slide that I have drawn the diagram like spin down in the above section and spin up in the downwards side. The lines are like that, you can see. And the energy difference between two splitting lines, I can show you. This energy difference means this way, like the difference between two splitting lines and the frequency corresponding to different energy between two levels is known as Larmor frequency. Okay, and this kind of phenomena is exploited in different experiments. For example, nuclear magnetic resonance. So you can remember that the difference between two levels is nothing but the Larmor frequency. So overall, to summarize the whole topic, we can say that, and you can remember the fact that if there is a particle which has some kind of intrinsic charge, or at least made up of charged particles, and it also has some intrinsic angular momentum, okay, then that kind of particle will have a magnetic moment associated with it, and therefore will behave as a tiny bar magnet, and we can calculate the magnetic moment in this manner for electron, neutron and proton. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more videos regarding the NET Physics exam. Like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.